So how's everybody doing? In this episode we're actually going to shape the terrain. I've sped the videos up because it's otherwise literally a matter of watching paint dry, and that's obviously not all we're going to do. But I've outlined where I wanted drainage dishes along the farmlands, and I'm now giving the surface a bit of a mocha brown. It was just a brown I had left over from a DIY project, to give a basic brown color to the scenery terrain. Obviously other scenery materials will be going over the top of this, but again, then the blue won't shine through so much. It's got a basic color, so that's what I'm doing here. So that's the end result, and the areas I left blue there is where the ditches are going to be cut out. Now, as you know, I've used 3mm foam, XPS foam, as my base. So and with this method I can now cut out the ditches. I'll start doing here, and I've already got initial scribes in there. Most of the material is already loose, as you can just notice probably, but I'm just carefully cutting it through with a hobby knife or scalpel knife. Any good sharp knife will do, because you don't want it to rip the material. So and cutting it out at a slight angle will actually simulate the embankments nicely, that you would see in a typical ditch. And again, this way I'm already creating some height difference in the scenery. It looks like the farmlands is definitely higher than the ditch, bottom of the ditch is. So even though the Netherlands is flat, with elements like this, you're gonna get some visual interest as well. And obviously it's an element you saw in the area a lot. But there's farmland, particularly if it's flat, you will need drainage ditches to let the water run off the farm field and get rid of it. Water management is what the Dutch were famous for, so this was one item of doing it. So I gave the bottom of the ditch the same base paint color, as you can see here. So the wood that has become visible from my baseboard here is getting the same color. And then I'm going to start painting with some artist acrylics the bottom of the ditch to give that dark, relatively deep effect. I'm mixing a couple of primary colors here: blue, yellow, and black, to give me various shades of green. Really deep dark green. It might not look like that at the moment, but trust me, you'll see it later. Then I apply the sides of the embankments with some white glue, as I'm doing here. And what I'll do after that is apply some Scenic Express soil. Scenic Express is an American brand. There are equivalent products on the UK market, but I had this left over, so I'm using this up first. And it's basically really fine dust, natural soil. It is real soil, and I find that so much better looking than any other types of turf that you might find around. So if you can find a good application of real materials, the better it is. So here we go. Apply some of that. Again, I'm using it on a bit of cardboard, so I have a little bit of control of bringing it down relatively equally. It's not easy. My material was probably a little bit damp, so it's stuck together a little bit. Rather than if it's good dry, it doesn't clump as much as you see it happening here, but it's not a disaster. That's why I have a fan brush, and spreading it out here equally over the embankment and into the glue. And obviously leftover material will be removed after the glue is set with a small handheld vacuum cleaner, little dust buster I'm using actually for this sort of stuff. They're not as powerful, but that also means I'm not undoing a lot of work that I've done. So next step is then to apply a base layer of static grass over the top of that. So I'm using diluted white glue here that I soak into the earth, or onto the embankments. It flows in nicely. Not super thin. It's probably a dilution level of 1 to 2 is 2 parts glue to 1 part water. So it's still relatively thick. It doesn't float too much. Lays on top, but it spreads relatively easy. And then my homemade static grass applicator. There are obviously so many on the market right now, and I've actually bought another one recently, but this was my very first attempt of building one myself. It's actually a fly swatter to which I've applied a metal T-strainer, and that was a poor man's way of doing it, but you got to be careful. This one does need to be discharged before you touch the metal, otherwise it'll let you know. You give a nice little zap of it. Trust me, don't ask me how I know. So yeah, tidy that up a little bit. I'm also rubbing in the grass a little bit into the embankment, layer after layer, thicken it up a little bit, and I do that along all the embankment here. I'm not showing you all of it again because again, repetition gets a bit boring, but at least you see the basic steps I do. The bottom of the ditch actually looks a bit dusty, but trust me, before I pour anything in it, I clean it out with a damp rag. So before we pour anything, I've also added some reeds first. There are a few little bits of little areas of reeds I cut to size, and then I put a dollop of white glue in the bottom of the ditch where I want the reeds to be fitted. I'm doing that here now, a little bit of white glue, and we stick the reeds into it like so. And I've done on a few areas, and to support them I will use a little bit of blue foam in a minute, so that they don't, because as the glue is drying, obviously it wants to fall over, and that's something we don't want. So as I said, dab it into the white glue, a bit more in this case. With the help of a tweezer to keep it nice together. Get some rope pieces gone. I can always cut them with a little scissor later on, and then a bit of blue foam helps it to keep them upright until the glue is set. Then one final layer of slightly darker mixed paint. Again, it's deep dark green. Barely see it on this due to the lighting here. At the very center of the ditches, to make it give a bit of depth effect. And then we're pouring the water. Now I've decided to use Aquamagic by Deluxe Materials. I've looked at various different products, and this actually comes out a bit gel-like. You got quite a lot of control out of the bottle like that. It's fairly, like I said, gel-like. It's relatively thick, so it doesn't flow fast, and that gives you a nice amount of control. Using a little brush to work it into the sides and get rid of bubbles. But here you can see already now that it is wet, it looks green. So with that in mind, the ditches are around the farmland. You can see that the colour is still a little bit green. Here's the Aquamagic again. Now, depending on the depth you want of the water, you can layer it. So let the first pour dry 24 hours, and then you can apply a second layer. I found that Aquamagic actually doesn't creep into the material, as you can see. Some, like resins, have a tendency to creep into the static grass up the embankment, but this isn't doing that. So, quite good product. Anyway, that's all for now, and hope to see you in the next video.